And welcome back to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes to us. By the way, I forgot to do yesterday, so I'm just making up for it today. Comes to us from Roger Ray, who asked the question, who would win in a fight? The canon Kekkei Genkai user Haku of the Yuki clan with the ice release, or Guren, the filler arc character with still a really cool Kekkei Genkai crystal release that, why couldn't you have made that canon? Seriously. But yeah. So these two, ice and crystal users go head to head with each other. Who would win? This is actually kind of tough. If we're talking about pure power, because this is really between how effective of ninjas they are. If we're talking about how effective of ninjas they actually are, I would go with Haku on this, because we just see even in the filler arc, Haku, excuse me, Haku seemed to be just a more competent ninja, as he was trained by Zabuza. And it showed. Stealth-wise, speed-wise, I think Guren is a little outmatched by Haku a little bit. Just like in pure raw speed, Crystal Ice Mirror technique enhances that. But if we're talking about the sheer power of their Kekkei Genkai, that becomes a bit more of a difficult thing to kind of figure out. And I'm going to see if I can get, let's see, Guren, come on, give me Guren. There we go. Let me get the crystal release up here right now so I can get what chakra elements go into that. Because we know for a fact Earth is a part of crystal release. I think it's implied, mind you, that it might be lightning that goes in the crystal, because lightning will crystallize just sand and earth. So I think that's the implication. Let's see, a crystal release. That or crystal release is just a different form of earth release. Yeah. So crystal release is in fact shown to be defeated by lightning release on one occasion, suggesting earth may be a component of the element. Well, no crap. Yeah. If I were to be a betting man, a guessing man, I would think that if it's not just a pure evolutionary bloodline evolution of Earth, which these types of elements usually are. They're usually a combination too. Wood is water and earth. Ice is water and wind. Magma is earth and fire. Laser release, if I'm not mistaken, is water and lightning. So yeah, generally speaking, these are a combination of things. I would go with lightning, though we never see Guren actually use lightning. Maybe she can't even use, maybe she just never learned lightning. Maybe she's always had the Kekkei Genkai from birth and never bothered to realize she had the other two elements. But I would guess it's a combination of lightning and earth. That's my guess. Which I think is actually ultimately screwed over by the ice release, technically speaking, because earth is stronger than water. I know that, so actually has an advantage there. And wind is stronger than lightning. So in theory, they should cancel each other out if they went head-to-head with each other. But that's theoretics. In actuality, because you're combining the elements, you're forming a different element, no longer applies. In a just general head-to-head comparison, Guren has the edge in terms of what crystal can ultimately do compared to ice, as it is just generally more durable than ice. It doesn't run the risk of melting, even though Haku's didn't run the risk of melting either. It doesn't run the risk of melting. It doesn't. It's just more. I mean, it's fragile, but ice is fragile too. And she can obviously increase its power with the use of her chakra as well, just like Haku could increase the power of his with the power of his chakra. And Guren is also capable of hand-to-hand fighting as well, as we see in this shot, in this bit I used with her creating like a tonfa blade. Her taijutsu skills are pretty high as well. She fought even ground with expert like Kakashi. Kakashi, as we all know, is no freaking joke. Haku is pretty solid as well, though if Haku and Kakashi had gone toe-to-toe in a hand-to-hand combat match, and we're talking about Shippuden and Kakashi, because that would about to be the fair match to use, then yeah, I don't see it being, I don't see her being able to, or him being able to best Guren in a fight if she could match Kakashi in hand-to-hand fighting. And yeah, I mean, she could actually fight. Let's put it this way. I think there's a pretty not every ninja is created equal. A ninja who could beat like a tail beast could still lose to someone else. But Guren could fight the three tails for a significant amount of time and even temporarily defeat it. In times of desperation, she can convert a small portion of her chakra into life energy to access extra chakra reserves, allowing her to continue fighting full strength for short periods. It's just, hazardous to her health. Whereas Haku, I don't think any of us could believe Haku could beat any tail beast. At best, maybe Haku could slow like Shikaku down due to the nature of ice and maybe getting water in there and freezing Shikaku up a bit, but Shikaku could ultimately get out of that, I believe. Now, Haku also has the advantage, though, of being a weapons expert, particularly in Senbon. But Guren's chakra, or not chakra, her crystal release most likely would be able to counter that. Just because she'd most likely be wearing, because I believe she demonstrates this ability. I believe it's a crystal armor she wears. Because I got a list of her attacks right here, or abilities right here. Yeah, she wears a crystal armor. So that's negates the Senbon. Haku does have the advantage of actually knowing jutsu, elemental jutsu, outside of just his ice. Haku knew jutsu of water, components that made up his ice, like the water needle jutsu, which we assume could also do an ice needle. Could assume that Haku also knew at least a little bit of wind jutsu as well. Although it's most likely that Haku was more specialized in water and ice because Zabuza was his teacher, and Zabuza was strictly water. Although Zabuza very, very well probably knew more, or could have learned more elements. Hell, in one of the what ifs I did, I had him learn fire release, and I had him actually one up a character in that. That you wouldn't think he'd be able to one up, but he did, and I really had a good time with that. Granted, I went a bit that was when I was going a bit fanficky. I occasionally will go. I've had this come up before, and I don't want to sidetrack more than like maybe a couple minutes to 30 seconds to a minute. That why I don't do fan fiction, or why I don't do more fan fiction like what ifs, and that's not what a what if is. What if can be fan fiction, but it's not. So I'm just throwing that out there. All that. That's not to say I can't get fanficky in a what if. It's not what I'm doing. I'm not going straight fanfic. Anyway, so Haku has the advantage of being trained under a 7th swordsman as well. So I would say Haku's training is probably better, but I feel like that's the only, and Haku's speed might be a little greater too. But I think that might be the only two advantages Haku really has. Granted, it also doesn't help that depending on where the fight were to take place, Haku has an advantage if they're near water, but if they're not near water, Haku can only pull so much water out of the atmosphere, or having to create water on his own, whereas Guren always can just, as long as there's earth, she can create, and even if there's not earth, she can just grow it out of her body. She can create crystal no matter what. So, these two meet up, they fight it out. I could honestly, granted, Haku's dead by the time Guren's around, but still, it's pretty feasible to see how they could fight. They're just hosed enemy ninja. Haku comes in with speed, tries throwing Senbon, but Guren's armor just deflects it. Guren is throwing projectiles, but he creates a crystal dragon. Haku tries the crystal ice mirror, but again, Guren is just, wearing armor, and then she just creates a crystal dome and just ultimately just explodes in crystal shards through everyone in the mirrors, probably. And in a long, drawn-out fight, I don't see Haku having the endurance to be able to hold out to Guren very long. Because Guren, I think, honestly has an answer to just about everything Haku has. Her armor alone gives her an extreme durability advantage. Granted, it's a thin armor, so enough force could get through it, but I don't think Haku is not a beat stick kind of ninja. He's not a brute force ninja. He's a finesse strategy type ninja. So my money, I gotta go Guren on this. And if you're asking me who I like more, even though Guren's only a filler character within an arc, I think Haku leaves more of a lasting impression on the fandom, and I think a lot of us just like Haku, and I'm among them. Absolutely, I like Haku, but I think Guren actually had a lot of more potential than Haku in some ways. Like they devoted like a full a filler arc, but a full arc to what she was capable of doing, showing up, and Crystal is just kind of cool. I've always liked crystals in terms of like just in general, but also like kids in terms of an ability or something like that. So I don't know. I mean, who do you like more? Do you like Haku or Guren more? I think most people would say they like Haku more, but Guren I think is actually a kind of cool character. I wish you were canon. It would have been actually cool to see her actually in the legitimate story. But it is what it is. Till then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I go Haku. I go Guren. Who do you got? Do you agree or disagree? Let me know. Till then, thanks for watching. I'll see you later because I got to do my Sunday and I got to pre-record my Monday. What or who would win? So thanks for watching. I'll see you.